right, brothers and sisters. Hello, I'm Michelle. We are going to be reading from Jim Stevens' 101 Proofs for the Existence of God, 101 Proofs for the Absolute Existence of God. So this book is just truly beautiful, written by an awesome brother of ours, just with beautiful, astounding pictures on the inside, on the outside. Yeah. So we are going to be reading the proof for the absolute proof for the existence of God. And it's about one of Michael Jackson's most popular songs. Just thinking about my baby, it don't matter if she's black or white. Do 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 do. All right. This is chapter 63. It's called Skin. Before you ever came out of your mother's womb, you had developed a fully functioning and amazing organ covering your entire body. It is called skin, and it accomplishes at least 6 functions that keep you alive. Without any, if you don't have one of these functions, not one of our ancestors would have survived. It is even possible to imagine um, how skin could have evolved in a slow and gradual process taking thousands of generations. If human ancestors evolved from fish with scales, then those scales had to become skin. Looking at skin for a little while in this chapter should convince you that scales did not turn into skin in a godless process. The following functions of skin are all necessary for us to survive. Just try to imagine how any one of them could have evolved one at a time over many generations. Okay? First of all, barrier to water and nutrient loss. Our skin actually keeps us from losing moisture to the air. And anything that we touch, such as our clothes, it also keeps nutrients in that the cells could lose if exposed. Healing. Skin has amazing immunization and healing functions. It protects us from permanent damage and blood loss. So he says, Jim says, please read proof number 70 on healing about this. And protection against pathogens. Our skin prevents bacteria and viruses from entering our bodies. The top layer of our skin is actually dead cells, which are constantly slowing off. Wow. Wow. Barrier to toxins and harmful chemicals. Our skin protects us from most harmful chemicals in our environment, shielding us against any damaging effects of what we touch or what touches us. Shield and protection against damage. It is the first line of defense against injuries. Organ for excretion of salts, urea, and toxins. Our skin actually releases a number of toxins for us. It secretes sweat to keep us cool and lubricate the skin. Temperature regulation. Our skin helps regulate our body temperature. When we get too hot, it allows blood closer to the surface to give off heat, and sweat glands release fluids to cool us through evaporation. When we get too cold, blood vessels contract to keep blood away from the surface. Muscles in the skin contract so that we shiver in order to generate heat. Wow. Are you remembering to try to imagine how these functions could evolve over many generations? Okay, here's another one. Blood pressure regulation. Mechanisms in our skin increase or decrease the flow of blood in capillaries to regulate our blood pressure. Sense of touch and pain. Everywhere on the surface of our skin, we can experience touch. Imagine trying to live without being able to feel anything. We are extremely sensitive to our environment, from the lightest touch of the spring breeze to the heavy thud of a hammer on our thumbnail. Ouch. Oh, and Jim says he's going to talk about pain in his proof for the existence of God, number 87. Something to look forward to. Sense of hot and cold. What if you put your hand on a hot stove and couldn't feel it? What if you took a hot shower but couldn't tell how hot it was? What if you couldn't tell if it was a cold day or a hot day? Wow. Friction grip. Our skin on our palms and fingertips is specially designed with thicker skin and ridges so that we can grab things and hold on to them. What if your glass of milk kept slipping out of your hand? Identification. Not only your fingerprints are unique and useful for identification, but your face is totally unique because of your skin. Take the skin off our faces and we'd all look pretty much the same. Synthesizes vitamin D. We all need vitamin D to survive. Our skin makes that for us when we get enough sunlight. I recently watched a DVD of a scientist, Dr. David Minton, who talked for 2 hours just about details of the skin. He hardly scratched the surface, as they say. It was totally amazing and way beyond what I want to cover in this chapter. All of the above functions are very, very complicated processes involving very specialized cells in the skin. How anyone could imagine, let alone believe, that this all came about by accident is dumbfounding to me. Can you hear the rain coming down? Let's just talk about hair for a minute, as just one example of the complexity of different aspects in the skin. When you are born, you already have every hair follicle you will ever have. Oh my, that's just amazing. There are 3 types of hair on your body, and the hair follicles are able to change themselves so that they can grow each of the different types of hair. Wow. Lanugo hair is the type you have in the womb. It falls out before you are born. Vellus hair is short, fine, light colored, and barely noticeable hair that develops on most of a person's body from his or her childhood. It grows to a certain length and then just stops. Eventually, a totally new hair starts to grow underneath and the old hair falls out. Most of our body is covered with this type of hair, as well as most animal bodies, although it is darker on animals. Terminal hairs are thick, long, and dark. This is the kind that keeps growing continuously, like on your head and in a man's beard. Humans are almost the only animal that has this type of hair. Poodles are one of the very few other animals that have it. Each hair follicle on your body has a small muscle attached to it. Oh man. Refer to chapter 62, muscles. Nobody knows how muscles could have evolved. Well, it's because they didn't. That's what Jim says. So, for example, if you get a chill, that muscle will get a signal from a nerve and make the attached hair stand up. If evolution were true, How does this make any sense? Also, each hair has a nerve connected to it. Wow, that connects the hair to your brain. Unbelievable. So when the wind blows your hair, you feel it because it registers in your brain. I'm sure you've noticed the wind blowing even though it is invisible. This is certainly a wonderful ability to have, which makes us very sensitive to the people and the world around us. Hair follicles have sebaceous glands which secrete oils which lubricate and waterproof the skin. Specialized sebaceous glands secrete tears to help lubricate our eyes. Our hands and feet do not have these, which is a nice design feature so we don't slide all over the place or lose our grip. There are a number of different types of sebaceous glands in different areas of the body. Very, very interesting if you want to look it up. Another amazing fact about our hair is that in some specific areas of our body, there is a sweat gland which is attached to the hair follicles in that area. For example, when your body gets overheated, sweat comes out of the hair follicles in your armpits, which helps cool you down quicker. Only one other animal sweats like humans. Do you know what that is? No, it's not the platypus, but you're close. It is the horse. No evolutionist believes that we evolved from horses or that horses evolved from people. So, how can they explain that we both have this amazingly complicated function in our skin? What are the odds that totally unrelated species could develop this same complicated mechanism in their skin? Each hair follicle is also connected to arteries. Each one is also connected to arteries and veins to supply oxygen and nourishment and also to carry away wastes. Without these incredibly complex connections for blood, each hair could not survive. Did you ever see a woman in the circus hanging by her hair and wonder why it doesn't pull out and she falls? I've never seen that myself. This is because each hair has a sheath around it, which has a zigzag or ratchet pattern that is exactly matched by the surrounding hair follicle. It holds the hair. It holds the hair in sort of like Velcro, but amazingly, the hair can still grow. Wow. Okay, so I just talked about hair so far, and it's just a very small proportion of what's in your skin. But this chapter's getting pretty long, so let me finish up quickly. But strongly note that the following equally amazing properties of skin all could be talked about just as much as hair. Our skin is composed of 3 layers: epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. The very outermost layer, the epidermis, is composed of many, many layers of only dead cells. They are arranged in a complicated interlocking pattern like patio tiles. There are even small hook-like structures keeping them attached to each other. When a top layer of cells fall off or gets rubbed off, it gets replaced from the bottom. A layer of cells dies in the dermis, and all the cells move up toward the surface. What an amazing design for replenishing the skin. Think how amazing this is. As cells are lost on the surface, how do the cells below know to die in just the exact quantity to replace the lost cells? If your skin did not have this ability, then maybe too many dead cells would build up and clog the surface. Or maybe too few cells would be produced, and all your epidermis would be rubbed off, exposing the dermis, where all the blood vessels and nerve endings reside. That layer of dead cells, the epidermis, is about the thickness of saran wrap, and yet it is totally essential to our survival. It holds in moisture so you don't dry out. It keeps toxins and chemicals out, along with bacteria and viruses. Blood is carried into every tiny square millimeter of your skin by an incredible network of capillaries. Look at a picture sometime of the capillaries in your skin. There is no way this came about by random incremental changes. Your skin has millions of nerves. Your skin has millions of nerve endings everywhere. These are all connected to your brain and sending signals about your environment. Is it hot? Is it cold? Are you being touched lightly or strongly? They can tell the texture of substances, whether they are soft or abrasive. There are actually two types of skin. Thick skin is on your palms and feet. It is hairless, but contains specialized nerve ending, so it is much more sensitive to touch. Thin skin is everywhere else and contains hair. Your palms and fingers have more specialized touch sensitive nerve endings. The name for the ending of those nerves is Meissner's corpuscle. They are responsible for sensitivity to very slight touch. How amazing that just where you need it the most, your skin provides super sensitivity. Try to imagine if your palms and fingertips were not as sensitive as they are. Read up on this type of corpuscle and how it works, and tell me this is not a miracle. Okay? So, also in the readings that are posted, I've put Jim's email address so you can contact him that way. You know what pain is. Do you know how miraculous it is that you can feel it? Everywhere in your skin are specialized free nerve endings called nociceptors or pain receptors that only respond to tissue damage. In nociception, intense chemical, for example, chili powder in your eyes, or something mechanical, for example, if you get cut or something gets crushed, or thermal, when you're hot or cold. These kinds of stimulation of sensory nerve cells called nociceptors produces a signal that travels along a chain of nerve fibers via the spinal cord to the brain. Nociception triggers a variety of physiological and behavioral responses and may also result in a subjective experience of pain in sentient beings. Notice that nociceptors have a special connection to the brain and even can trigger automatic muscle reactions to pain themselves, not initiated by the brain. Think about your reflexes and how quickly you pull your hand off of a hot stove. This is just the proverbial tip of the iceberg about how fantastic your skin is. Imagine that you could not experience physical pain from your skin. You would never know if you had damaged any part of your body. The skin on your face is what makes you look like you. We would all pretty much look alike without our skin. In fact, the skin on your face has lots of embedded muscles whose sole purpose is to outwardly express your inner emotions. No other animals have anything like it. all of us actually have all of us actually have the same color of skin. It is only because of different amounts of a chemical called melanin released in our skin that makes some skin black, brown, yellow, purple, red, blue, or whatever. This too is an amazing process. The idea that all these functions of our skin were not designed by a superior intelligence that happened accidentally over a few million years is impossible. I have only been describing the incredible functionality of human skin. What about all the other animals that have skin as well? Some skin allows their owners to live in amazing environments, very, very cold or hot, wet or dry places. There are probably as many different types of skin as there are animals. Wow. This multiplies the probability against evolution exponentially. The only thing that makes rational sense is that there must be a master intelligent designer. And so there must be God. There must be God. And I also think of the chameleon, right? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Jim, for this. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Okay, take care, everybody, and see you another time.